So welcome to this particular subject that I'm going to talk about today, which is about the brain and how it responds to food, and why specifically two things which people are very scared of: why your brain has to have sugar, just the right kind of sugar, and why it must have cholesterol. It's needed to make every cell in your body. I love the fact that I'm involved in this. It doesn't matter what subject I'm researching, how many times I've spoken on the brain. I just start doing a Google search to look at the newest research, and up pops like literally dozens and dozens and dozens of papers on studies that they've done, which really just backs the route that I've been on for the last 35 years. And it's so exciting to actually be on this sort of cutting edge of nutrition and the way it's impacting our bodies. And for so many years, nutrition was just considered, well, we just eat so that we don't fall over from lack of eating. There was just no connection between diet and disease. And now we know that people like Dr. Colin Campbell, who's Professor Emeritus at Cornell University of Nutritional Biochemistry, he's a top nutritional biochemist in the world. He's retired, but he's still connected to the university. And he's honestly the most respected nutritional biochemist. You mention his name in academic circles and everybody's like, oh, Dr. Colin Campbell, you know, he's the humblest man. I've met him, spent time with him. He is the most humble person I think I've ever hung out with. He doesn't go around trying to give anybody information or trying to change them. He answers questions, and he's really this quiet voice and the sweet wife. Amazing, amazing man. And he came from a traditional westernized diet. His father was a dairy farmer. He grew up on a dairy farm. And he says the only eating style, and he doesn't want to call it a diet, the only way to eat that's been shown conclusively to reverse any kind of disease, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, arthritis, gout, you just name any disease, the only dietary program and lifestyle is a whole food plant-based diet. It's the only one that can actually conclusively, they now have the research to prove that you can reverse just about any single disease. And it's amazing to actually see it. It's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about it. And within the whole food plant-based program, everybody eats slightly differently. Somebody might be eating still some chicken and fish. And if you're going to eat animal products, I say, please make sure that it's totally organic, not free range. It's not enough. It needs to be organic because their hormones are used even in free range animals to grow them. And you're putting those hormones into your body and interfering with your hormones, which is going to affect the whole endocrine system, which is going to affect the entire body, okay? So it's not that you have to be some radical vegan and you can never eat a piece of fish. That's not what this is about. It's about taking the tools and understanding them. So we're going to talk about the brain, as I said, and right at the top of the list, I'm going to give you 10 things that your brain needs to function fully. So the 10 things that your brain needs to function efficiently is number one at the top of the list is essential fatty acids. And next to that, I'm going to put cholesterol because they two work together very, very, very powerfully. Your essential fatty acids are essential for everything in the body. Omega-3s and omega-6s are needed by the endocrine system to function fully. And the endocrine system controls brain function. Essential fatty acids, when they call them essential, it means you can't make them. You have to get them from your diet. Omega-9 you make, your body makes it. But if you've got omega-3 and 6, you've got to get that from your diet. And the only reliable source that you can get that from is from plant food. So a lot of people will take fish oil, for example. But to get oil out of a fish, anybody want to guess how you get an oil out of a fish? Just squeeze it, yeah, and all the blood and the water comes out, and it's the most bizarre thing. And people were coming to me and saying to me, please endorse my fish oil, it's so good, and you can get a royalty and you'll drive a Rolls Royce. And I said, yes, and I won't sleep at night. First have to tell me is how you get the oil out of the fish. You have to heat it. In fact, what they do is they fillet the fish. They take the flesh of the fish out and they sell that because that's what people want to eat, is the fillet. And what's left behind is the skin and the bones and the internal organs, the liver and the heart and the lungs and the eyes and all of that. So they mash that all up together. They call it masticating, not mashing. So they masticate it, which is it's like a pulp, and then they heat it to very high temperatures and they extract it with a chemical solvent, which is usually benzene based. And then that's sold to us as fish oil, and it's told that it's going to help us with our health. So omega-3s are the one fat you should never heat because they become highly carcinogenic. They promote cancer in the body. So you don't ever take fish oil. You just don't touch it. But nobody's going to tell you that. We were talking about it earlier on. A lot of what we are told is good for us is really based on an industry that's trying to make as much as they possibly can out of you. And we don't know because we don't study this stuff. You're only studying it if you're passionate about it and you delve into it. Doctors don't study it. Dietitians don't even study it. I have a dietitian working for me. She says, we never learned any of this stuff because it's the chemistry, and somebody else is doing some chemistry, and the doctors are doing how to fix you if you're in an accident and manage your diseases, and then dietitian over here is looking at your macro and micronutrients. How many grams of fat and protein and calcium do you need if you are a child or an adult? So it's looking at how many milligrams of things you need, as opposed to how can I help you take control of your health and change your health, and you can manage your own health. Okay, people don't generally ask these questions. The very people that sell the fish oil, when I say to them, how do you get the oil out of the fish? They have no idea. I'm like, you should know your product. At the end of the day, don't touch it. What we need to do is get it from a plant source. Essential fatty acids from a plant source are cold pressed. Like flax oil probably contains the most omega-3s out of any food. And for years I've been telling people take flax because I've seen the changes so dramatically. You can use flax oil in a bottle like this, but I wouldn't use it for longer than 6 months to a year because you can overdose on omega-3s. Or you can use it in the capsules like this. I don't have any in stock today, but I can tell you how to get hold of it. That's mine from home. And that contains a perfect balance of omega-3s to 6s, so you don't have to worry about overdosing on any time. But you can still do things like you sneak a little bit. You overdose is when you're taking too much. And too much is more than 3 teaspoons to 3 tablespoons, and then if you're getting avocados, nuts, and seeds, you're enough. But you can sneak this into things. For example, you can put a little bit in the smoothie, which I'll do, and I'm going to put a little bit into the hummus and a little bit into the basil pesto. You just sneak it in. You just put a little dollop in wherever it is so it hides away, because it's kind of a nutty tasting oil, but it can have quite a strongish flavor if you use too much of it. So you sneak it in. Essential fatty acids are used for a variety of things. They're very anti-inflammatory in the body, especially your omega-3s. They're very anti-inflammatory in the body. But omega-3s are very interesting because omega-3s they call them super unsaturated fats. They've got lots of open links. So if that was the molecule of fat, it's got lots of open links, and it picks other nutrients up and carries them into the cells. So it actually helps with all your fat-soluble vitamins, all your carotenoids, I know with this product that's just come out here by Vivify, it's got astaxanthin in it. And astaxanthin is a part of the carotenoid family, but it's like a super powerful antioxidant, and they're removing it from sea algae, and they put it in a capsule like that, and it helps the body to make natural collagen, for example. So it helps with inflammation, it helps with cognitive decline and stuff like that. And it actually tells you if you research astaxanthin, it's the active ingredient in there, when you research it, it tells you have to eat it with fat. So I take that. I've only just recently started taking, I'm experimenting on myself for 3 months, and I'm in the first half of the month. And my husband had damaged knees for many, many years, and from athletics. You know, in the olden days, you used to just get on the track and jump and climb, and he was a top athlete. We'd do high jump and long jump and hurdles and anything. You just ran on the track and you went home. Nobody warmed you up or cooled you down. There was none of that. So his knees have always been twitchy and sore, and if he eats anything with fried fats, then it feels like somebody's cutting his knees with razor blades. Well, since he's been on that, his knees have been amazing, and in fact he had something that had heated fats in it, and he was expecting to have to sleep with a pillow between his knees and be in pain, and he wasn't at all. So it's an interesting thing, but we take it with fat. So always, but astaxanthin is a carotenoid. It's got to go into the body with fats. So, but if you think about it, it's not that complicated. You don't need to know all the nutrition about it. We will sit down and have a salad and take a little bit of olive oil on it. You can mix a bit of flax oil in your olive oil and then drizzle that over it, and you're getting your there is some omega-3s in olive oil, but not a lot, okay? So you get this feeling like I'd like some dressing on my salad, and that's usually an indication your body's telling you to take some oils into your body because they're fat-soluble vitamins. Precursors to vitamin K in green leafy vegetables, and the carotenoids all need to have fats in the diet. So we mustn't live fat-free diets, but also just eating fat like some diets tell us to do. The most important area that I can see that helps the brain is not only inflammation, you don't want to have an inflamed brain, but is the fact that omega-3s pick up cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is made by your liver, and your liver dumps that in the bloodstream. And cholesterol is the vehicle. I always like to think of it as a bus because it's got lots of seats on it to pick things up. So the omega-3 bus comes along and picks up the cholesterol and takes it to where it's needed. Now, cholesterol is the second thing that's really needed by the brain. You have to have it. Because without cholesterol, your brain simply cannot work efficiently. Of the cholesterol that's made in the body, it's needed to make different hormones, it's needed to convert vitamin D. Cholesterol gets converted into vitamin D in the skin when you're in the sun, so you actually produce vitamin D from natural light, and that helps to give you healthier bones. But cholesterol is needed by every single cell. It helps to build the cell membranes. Each little cell that's built, the actual walls of the cell are built using cholesterol. Cholesterol is used to cover your nerve fibers in your body with a myelin sheath. It's a bit like an electrical cable. If I had to look at an electrical cable, here's a thin one over here. If you had to take this electrical cable and you took the plastic off, you just have the wires. And then if they touched each other, the whole thing would short out. And that's what happens with a disease called multiple sclerosis, which is connected to the brain and central nervous system. They work together. So what happens is with multiple sclerosis, the myelin sheath starts to break down. But it's a weird condition. Nobody's really ever understood it. Because sometimes it'll affect the nerves in your arm and you'll be walking along and you'll just drop everything one day or you'll fall down. And then you're fine for a couple of days or a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then it's the other leg or it's another part of the body. So it's like the myelin sheath, the body's trying to fix it over here and it's breaking down over there, and then it's fixing it over here and it's breaking down over there. And that happens when there's not enough cholesterol in your body getting to where it needs to be. But now we shouldn't be eating cholesterol from animals, because when we eat it from animals, you have to cook the animals. And when you cook the animals, you heat the cholesterol, and that causes inflammation in the body. Particularly, they found in studies, it actually causes inflammation in the arteries. And when you have inflammatory response inside the arteries, you can get a lot of plaques. It gets inflamed, it gets swollen, and a lot of plaque. And that's where you find the cholesterol sitting inside the arteries, because it's cooked cholesterol from another animal, as opposed to the cholesterol we make in our liver. We make our own. Your liver over here on your right-hand side, pat your liver and get friendly with it. It does over 500 different things every day just to keep you alive. And one of the things it does is make natural human cholesterol, which you need for all these different things, for healthy bones, for your brain to work properly, to make hormones. And so omega-3s picks up the cholesterol, takes it to the brain. You must have cholesterol. If your cholesterol levels are high, it shows that they'll give you drugs to reduce your cholesterol levels. The worst thing ever, because now we're managing your condition. So now it's getting your liver to not produce so much cholesterol. And one of the side effects of taking cholesterol-lowering medication is cognitive decline and loss of memory. Because now it's stopping the cholesterol from getting to the brain. It's the most bizarre thing. And when you're actually reading the physiology textbooks, it actually tells this. But it's almost like people are studying the medicine, what kind of medicine do, and the others are studying physiology, but nobody's putting the two together. It's quite bizarre. So when you start taking the natural fats into your diet, and then you stop the cholesterol lowering medication, you work with your doctor, you say, please monitor me here, I want to try this out. What we see is initially the cholesterol levels go up because the body's like, whoa, we got the vehicle, we got a whole lot of buses coming in here to pick up the cholesterol, and there's a shortage in the brain, and there's a shortage in the hormones, and there's a shortage over here. So let's produce lots of cholesterol because let's get it to the body as fast as we can. So initially, what happens in some people, when they actually start to take natural omega-3s in their diet, the body initially responds by increasing the amount of cholesterol to try and fix all the problems as fast as possible. But then it just settles down and your cholesterol comes down to a happy level. It just lowers. In our family, we've got high cholesterol levels, familial high cholesterol levels. Mine would be over 9. And I changed my diet, and it's usually between 4 and 5, somewhere around there, like 4.2, 4.8, 4.8. And it's different. It's never the same from day to day, because you may be very stressed one day, which means you're using a lot of adrenaline being pumped. Now your adrenaline is made using cholesterol, or you might be going through a pregnancy, or you might be going through menopause, or you might be having low levels of testosterone. Your body's like, let's push the cholesterol levels up. It's never the same. So to go and measure your cholesterol levels and say, oh, you got a high cholesterol level, we're going to give you a drug. I've found every single time that somebody has had high cholesterol levels, there's all kinds of other symptoms as well. They're diabetic, which is an endocrine problem. They've got cognitive issues, the memory's going. There's all these other things going on. My own brother, I changed my diet, my cholesterol came down, my brother took the medication. And what went? He's an accountant. His brain went. He couldn't add numbers anymore. His memory was going. He started getting cramps in his muscles because your muscles can't function properly without cholesterol. So your brain must have cholesterol, but it mustn't come from your diet. The cholesterol comes from your liver, from your diet. You're getting in your natural fats, which will pick the cholesterol up and take them to your brain. So the first thing you find when you start taking essential fatty acids, we encourage it on all children that are on ADHD or on Ritalin or Concerta or any of these drugs for ADHD and lack of attention. You get them onto essential fatty acids from a plant source, and honestly, you see a dramatic improvement within 3 to 4 weeks. But you see it with elderly people as well, with this cognitive decline. You get them onto fatty acids, you get them into natural sunlight, you start implementing these 10 steps, and the next thing, they're talking to you lucidly, like they know exactly what's going on. So we need essential fatty acids and we need cholesterol. Cholesterol is good for your brain. You have to. It's a huge mind shift to start thinking that cholesterol is good, but the kind that is good is from your liver. The kind that's not good, that's not going to help you, is coming in from an animal. You'd think that anybody would look at this and say, don't eat the animals because the cholesterol is coming into the body and it's not the right kind. Honestly, if you have a piece of fish every now and again and some organic chicken every now and again, organic egg, and it's like what the studies are now showing that we shouldn't be consuming animal products more than between 1 to 3 times a week, not bigger than the size of the palm of your hand. So it would be 3 eggs in a week, or an egg, a piece of chicken, and a piece of fish spread out over the week. So you don't have to be a strict vegan, you've just got to reduce the amount of animal protein in your diet. And the reason we don't is because we don't know how to. Those people don't change their diet because they haven't got a clue. My husband went to a meeting the other day with a whole lot of big meat eaters. He's a foot-up trials motorcycle rider. And all these guys are big South African meat eaters. And he went to the meeting with smoothies and snacks from our shop. And they said to him, bring us some nice snacks and stuff. And he went to the smoothies and they flattened these smoothies. They'd never tasted anything so delicious. And every time we do stuff like that, people tell us, I would eat well if the food was around me. I just don't want to think it. Most people don't want to study nutrition, and they don't want to have to go and relearn how to cook properly. So they want it, but it's not available. What is available is energy drinks full of caffeine and sugar and all these colorants and flavorants and preservatives. That's what's available. So people just grab the nearest thing. That's, if I have my way, we'll change all of it. The M that we know of in the fast food place will become the M for Mary Ann's. We've got to take them all over and do our healthy burgers and our wonderful chips. Yeah. In my lifetime, listen, I have to live to 120 because there's so much to do. All right, so the next thing is exercise, of course. Exercise is vitally important to the way the brain works because exercise, especially when you do it outside, you can't separate exercise and light. If you do it outside in natural light, this morning Mark and I were out on the beach this morning walking at 6 o'clock. The light is up. You don't do it in the peak midday sun in the middle of summer. You do it when the sun set or when it's light, but it's not shining directly necessarily on you. It's early morning or late afternoon, early evening sun. And so when sunlight shines on your skin and converts cholesterol into vitamin D, that's a good thing. But sunlight also regulates a little gland in your, if you had to drill a hole here and here, you get a little gland, some people say here and here. It's tiny gland, the size of a pea, called a pineal. Some people call it a pineal gland. It's Pineal. And it regulates melatonin, which makes you sleep well at night if it's high. Melatonin needs to be reduced during the daytime, otherwise you drag yourself around, you're tired all day long. If you don't go outside in natural light, your melatonin levels will be high during the day, you'll be tired all day, and then they drop at night and you can't sleep. Melatonin needs to be high at night, low during the day, and going out into natural light without glasses on regulates that. Now, if you're as blind as a bat without your glasses, go for a walk with your glasses on the end of your nose like this. Not over the eyes, okay? On the nose. Have you been telling your mom this? If you're wearing contact lenses, you need to take them out and put your glasses on, okay? And the reason for that is the UV rays actually need to get into the pupil of the eye, and they can't bend around the corners. If you put your glasses on, the UV rays can't come around here because they reflect at right angles only, so they'll bounce off a wall.
Need to go on the beach, then I won't trip over anything.
You won't trip over anything, yeah. Or just
on the pavement, and then
or just put your glasses on the edge of your nose, so you can look down, but you can look up as well. Or the other side of it is walk with your glasses on, but eat all your meals outdoors. So find a big shady tree or a nice veranda, park yourself on there, and eat breakfast, lunch, and supper. In summer and in winter time, you can spend time on the veranda, wrapped up, eating your lunch out there. Obviously, when it's pouring with rain, then I would suggest putting your glasses on the end of your nose, taking an umbrella, and still going for a walk. Because even if it's overcast, the UV rays are so much higher outdoors than they are inside. So they'll help you sleep well at night and be happy during the day. So it's clearly affecting the brain. It's increasing your serotonin levels. You're suffering from depression? 2 things you do. You exercise outside without covering your eyes, or you spend as much time outside as you can. I will sit on the veranda and work on my laptop because I'm outside and those natural rays are coming in. If I'm wearing these are reading glasses on my computer, then I'll wear them on the end of my nose and I'll look up at the view and I'll look down. I'll do it as much as possible. And I know the quality of my sleep is hugely improved when I spend more time outside. If I have a day where I'm inside all the time, I find I toss and turn, or I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't sleep as well. And that's another issue. I've got to get back to the exercise. Sleep has a profound effect on the brain. You want to actually trigger mental illness? Don't sleep. Huge studies have been done on people that don't get the right kind of sleep and don't get enough sleep. Is that the brain, mental illness is like there for you. You're going to suffer from it if you don't sleep on a regular basis. Sleeping is like plugging in your cell phone. Your battery runs flat. It's not necessarily the energy in it, it's the brain battery. They don't fully understand it. They know that when we sleep, the brain recharges and the brain sorts everything out. If you don't sleep, you've got a problem. But if you're not exercising and you're not getting natural light, your sleep's not going to be good anyway. So exercise, how much do you need? At least 20 minutes a day minimum. Ideally, not less than 20 minutes twice a day. And if you really want to get fitter as you get older and be stronger, and Mark and I have done this more and more the older we've got. We're fitter and stronger than we were at 20. We try to aim for 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the evening. And that 45 minutes might be a walk on the beach in the morning or around a park. It doesn't matter where we are. We can be in any country, anywhere we will walk, because that's the one thing you can do. At home, we've got a lot of other things to do, like mowing our lawn. We live on a small holding, and we're the ones. I have my electric lawn mower with batteries in it. Doesn't have a cable, otherwise I'd cut it, I'm sure. So it's got batteries in it. It lasts about an hour, but I've got another set of batteries that I put in. So I can go for at least 45 minutes to 2 hours sometimes if there's a lot of mowing to do. But we'll do other things. We'll dig. We'll be carting biochar, which is basically you burn wood to make biochar because it helps the soil. Or we'll be flipping the compost. So we'll be doing a form of exercise very often that includes resistance exercise. We don't go to gym and push weights around inside a room. That makes no sense to me. If I'm going to get strong in my arms, it's going to be because I'm digging a hole or I'm throwing the compost over to the other side. My brother always looks at us and he says, "You guys are crazy. You could just retire in a flat on the Strand there and just like not have all the stuff to do. And then you could just go to gym." And I'd say, but why would I want to exercise inside a building when I can be outside? But I know that I personally need to spend time outside. I suffered from bipolar many, many years ago. I had thoughts of suicide my whole life long. I even remember asking my Sunday school teacher what would happen to me if I killed myself. And she said, "You go straight to hell." Now, I have read the Bible from cover to cover, and it doesn't say anything like that at all. But she stopped me from jumping off the roof at the house, so I must be grateful for her, because it was a continual thought. As a teenager, it was really, really bad. And I'd be, as a young woman, I'd have these unnatural highs where I could take on the world, and then I'd crash and want to not only kill myself. At that point, it got really bad. I started having thoughts that I was actually probably going to be the first female serial killer. I'm not joking. The terrible, terrible thoughts go through your head. They are terrible. But I was an absolute total sugar junkie. But I was a healthy sugar junkie. I only ate brown sugar, and I made fudge with brown sugar, and I made I ate ice cream. I thought it was really good because it had dairy in it, so the dairy was really good for me. So I haven't had a bipolar incident for over 30 years at all. It's been totally managed with my diet. But I can feel my brain gets unhappy when I spend too much time inside and don't get outside time. And it could be howling. The southeaster could be doing 150 Ks. I could be raining, and I will go outside. I'll say to Mark, I need to go for a walk now. And he'll say, no, it's just now. I need to go for a walk now. And the only way I can explain it, and I've seen other people who've had a bipolar history as well. They say your brain gets jumpy. It does this thing where it just doesn't, it can't find the cogs in the brain. It's like a weird thing. And it's not that I'm going to do anything crazy, because my brain feels agitated. That's probably the best way to put it. Go for a walk, it sorts it all out. Your brain is an incredible organ. It's got these like synapses, they're cells really, clusters of cells, but it's all this communication. It's like electrical charges in the brain, the way that the cells are communicating with each other. It's actually quite amazing. And in fact, we know that without cholesterol, the communication from one nerve cell to the other doesn't take place efficiently. So your body can't send messages around very efficiently if there's no cholesterol in the brain, and that happens if there's no natural fats in the brain from plants. And exercise, natural light, and sleep all help your brain to function more efficiently. So the next thing your brain has to have, and that is sugar. It's got to have sugar, but not the kind of sugar I was eating. Even brown sugar is really bad for the brain. Because what happens with brown sugar or white sugar, your blood sugar, for the brain to function efficiently, your blood sugar should be nice and stable. For the endocrine system, the hormonal system needs to be nice and stable, but the brain really needs a stable blood sugar. You also need lots of B vitamins. B vitamins are very essential to the way the brain works, but we don't need it in supplements, we need it in our food. The best place to find your B vitamins is in whole, unprocessed foods. You need fresh fruits, you need veggies, you need whole grains, and lots of them, legumes. They've got all these B vitamins in. And why does the brain need B vitamins? Because it helps the chemical reactions to take place. Then the cholesterol can send the chemical messages and transport it, and the fats help to transport the hormones around the place. It's a very, very intricate system. So we need natural glucose to stabilize blood sugar and to provide us with the right kind of glucose for energy. Your brain can't do any of the work it does if your blood sugar is low. Have any of you ever fasted before, where you eat nothing at all and you just drink water? Okay. Many communities have days of fasting, for example, where you just sometimes don't even drink. I know in the Jewish community you don't even drink water on the Day of Atonement. It's no water, no food. And what happens is, or if you just happen to be really busy and forget to eat, or if you're just a normal person and you're consuming blood sugar, normal glucose like I did, sweets and healthy. I used to make my own custard slices, and I thought it was really healthy because they're homemade, with brown sugar. And so what it does is sugar and fresh fruit, and all the studies show this, and this is one of the reasons why when people tell me, you mustn't have sugar, it's really bad for cancer, you mustn't have sugar, you're going to put on weight. Fruit sugar is very stable on the blood sugar. It keeps it very, very stable, whereas refined sugar will push it right up like this. Your body goes into a state of shock and says we're going to go into a diabetic coma and die, produces lots of insulin, brings it back down again. Up here you feel like you can take on the world, down here you're feeling like you want to kill yourself. That's not like that with everybody. Some people just have more energy there and others just feel very tired down here. So what happens when the blood sugar drops and is low and you're feeling tired, you find that you tend to get a bit of brain fog, like I can't think straight. Like I need a cup of tea. So what happens if you're going to have a cup of tea or coffee or a chocolate? It gives you caffeine, produces adrenaline, pumps your blood. Your adrenaline helps to get your blood sugar up in a hurry, and you've got the surge of energy and you run around. I can do lots of things. I'm amazing. And people sell you green tea and raw cacao and organic chocolates, all with caffeine in to help you with your brain. But we know that caffeine actually has a negative effect on the brain. It actually reduces your short-term memory over a long period of time. So the way to stabilize your blood sugar is with the right kind of glucose. And the right kind of glucose comes from fresh fruit. Dried fruit to a certain extent as well, just make sure it's preservative-free. If you're needing to get your blood sugar up, the best thing to do is to eat fresh fruit. Go and eat an apple or a banana. I don't particularly like bananas. My husband does. We're all different. If there's one common thread running through everything I ever tell you is learn to listen to your body. When you learn to listen to your body and you're craving sweet things and you know how to treat it, you know you're going to go and have some fresh fruit or you're going to have a handful of raisins. But if you've never been taught to listen to your body and you're craving sweet things, you're like, I feel like condensed milk straight out of the can. That's what I used to do. I was a total sugar addict. You can go to the bathroom and you'll see, did you know Marianne used to be a sugar addict, a sugaraholic? Because I was, total sugaraholic. I couldn't live without having sugar. And my brain can be very intense at times, and the more I used my brain, the more I needed sugar. But then when my blood sugar dropped, I'd feel completely flat, and I'd have complete brain fog. I couldn't think straight at all. I would be emotional and crying and screaming and shouting. I'd be mean to my poor husband, my long-suffering husband. We've been married for 46 years on the 1st of January. And when I said to him, why did you stay with me? And he said, the good times made up for the bad. Because the first 8 years of our marriage, I was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So what I found, for example, is if I have fresh fruit, dried fruit, and when I started eating like this, I would eat, one time I ate a whole kilogram of dates in a day. Another time I ate a whole box of mangoes, 9 of them, in a day. Another one, a whole watermelon. But that happened for 2 months. I just ate and ate and ate and ate. And I'm just, for the first time in my life, I remember my brain actually feeling like calm. It calms your body down and it calms the brain down. For a lot of reasons. You're getting in the right type of glucose. You're not getting glucose in that's going to do that. The right kind of glucose. It's got fiber in it. Water-soluble fiber helps your gut biome. It's a prebiotic that feeds your bacteria. We know that studies, all the studies are showing that if your gut bacteria are out of balance, your brain's not going to work properly. There's more nerve cells, neural cells in your stomach than there is in the brain. And those nerve cells in the stomach speak to the brain all the time. But when they're not there because the friendly bacteria are out of balance, your brain's getting no feedback from here. And that's what we call our gut instinct. And you feel like something doesn't feel right in this room or this space. So you're walking down a road one night and you're thinking, I don't feel comfortable here. I'm going to get back in my car and drive somewhere else. Have you ever had that feeling? Your body's telling you to get out of a place. We were, you hear people tell you, I didn't feel comfortable there. I got next thing you hear that the local serial killer did something the night before there. It's just you hear these stories, but I've been in those situations where you felt something and then afterwards realized you actually were in danger and your body was telling you here, feeding to the brain. So when your gut is balanced, your brain works properly. To be balanced, your gut needs prebiotics. Prebiotics are things that feed probiotics, the friendly bacteria. So the things that feed the friendly bacteria is water-soluble fiber is one of the main things. So you can put the friendly bacteria in. Things that destroy those friendly bacteria is antibiotics. Alcohol is a natural sterilizing agent. And if you don't believe me, remember what we did in COVID? Everybody was spraying their hands with alcohol. Why? Because it kills bacteria. So if you're drinking a glass of whatever every single day, you're sterilizing your stomach. Now, if you're going to do that, make sure that you're consuming friendly bacteria every single day. I use Flora Food. It's on the shelf over there because it contains the right bacteria for humans. Whereas a lot of these Flora products are from cows or from sheep or from goats or something else, but not from a human. The bacteria that is in the Flora Food was cultured from a newborn baby about 40 odd years ago. And that's what it is. It's human bacteria that are cultured and that puts that friendly bacteria back in. Things that upset the friendly bacteria, parasites, for example. Do a parasite cleanse on a regular basis. But you've got to look after your gut. And some people can find their gut gets very upset with things like raw onion and garlic. It might cause a lot of gas, a lot of distension, a lot of Some people's digestive tracts are very sensitive to the antibiotic properties in garlic and onion. If you want to use it, cook it to death, and you destroy most of that. You get the flavor, but the antibiotic properties are not so powerful. So it depends. Some people can handle garlic and onion, some people can't. The ancient Chinese would put their prisoners on totally carbohydrate-free diets. No carbohydrates, just proteins and fats, which I remember going on to in the 1970s, Dr. Atkins' diet revolution. Yeah, remember that one? And what happened on the high-protein diet was actually when I was diagnosed, my brain really started to go out of balance from an emotional point of view. And years later, when I was studying nutrition and doing more research and studies, I found out that the ancient Chinese used to put their prisoners on a totally carbohydrate-free diet because it would break down their prisoners' mental resolve and emotional resolve. They'd be an emotional wreck, and mentally they couldn't think straight. And I then understood why I was so pretty crazy. It was during that time that I was diagnosed with being bipolar. My brain was just not working efficiently. I wasn't giving it enough glucose. And then I'd go on like a sugar binge because I couldn't cope anymore, and then my brain would get some glucose but from the wrong source. So it was a complete mess. So any diet that tells you not to eat fresh fruit in your diet is not a good diet for your brain. You might lose weight. I mean, you can lose weight on any diet. You can. And a high-protein diet will make most people lose weight the first time. The second time around, it messes up the endocrine system, and then the weight loss is very, very small compared to what it was in the beginning. But if you go onto a dietary program, it must be for the sake of your brain, your endocrine system, your joints, your bowels. Everything needs to start working properly, not just weight loss. And a healthy diet that's good for your brain and good for your heart and good for your cellulite and anything else will also eventually help you to lose weight. It will stabilize the weight. But that should never be your goal, is weight loss. It should be health gain. In the process of gaining your health, you'll find that your weight actually stabilizes really well. And then very important, very, very important is that our food is alkaline forming. And this is very, very important because they found that when your food leaves more alkaline minerals behind in your bloodstream once it's digested, that's what alkaline forming means, the more alkaline your diet is, the higher your IQ is. Studies they did with children, they found that children who had an alkaline environment in the brain from eating an alkaline forming diet had higher IQs. Their brain was actually able to process more efficiently. And there was another study done. Several people have demonstrated that the speed of transmission along the nerve fibers can be correlated with intelligence. An alkaline diet can increase, so they demonstrate the speed of transmission. So the faster your brain connects and the faster it sends messages, the higher the IQ. Now the interesting thing is that not IQ, the intelligence, basic intelligence. An alkaline diet, if you're eating a diet that is at least 75 to 80% alkaline forming, it increases the metabolic rate and the energy in the body by up to 30%. So you can increase the rate at which your brain is transmitting messages by up to 30% just by eating an alkaline forming diet. How do you do that? Not too complicated. You simply start to eat more fruit and vegetables. And when you start eating more fruit and vegetables, you're getting all the stuff right. You start getting the more fatty acids, you're getting the right kind of fiber, but what you do get is you get more alkaline forming minerals. If you eat fresh fruit, fresh veggies, before you eat any meal, so for breakfast, for example, you decide you want to eat an avocado, or you want to eat some apples, or you want to have a fruit salad, you always eat some raw fruit or vegetables before you start breakfast. You always eat raw fruit or vegetables before you have a mid-morning snack. You always eat raw fruit and vegetables before you eat lunch. You always eat raw fruit and vegetables before you have a mid-afternoon snack. You always eat raw fruit and vegetables before supper. And if you do just that one thing, raw fruit and vegetables before you eat anything else, you're increasing the amount of alkaline forming foods by at least 50%, but in some instances 75 to 80%, because very often some people will say, oh, this is delicious, I'm going to have some more. I had some watermelon before breakfast, but I feel like more. And then you eat more and you think, I'm too full, I don't feel like breakfast. So now you've had a total fruit meal, which is one of the ways to make sure you're getting enough of the right kind of glucose for your brain, is to have one fruit meal a day. And then you're eating raw fruit or vegetables before your snacks. You've got 3 of the basic 5 steps I give everybody for basic health. And if any of you have done the 100 Days to Health, you know that the principle that you start in week 1, you eat raw food before you eat any meal or snack. So it could be a smoothie. I'm going to make a quick smoothie for you, and we'll see if we've got time to make the ice cream. I'll get it going, and if you're still here, you can have some. But at the end of the day, you've got to increase the amount of fruit and vegetables. You're getting in more of the nutrients and antioxidants the brain needs. We know, I put out all these berries here, because just this morning on BBC it was saying that people that drink grape juice, not wine, grape juice, and eat blueberries, because of the specific antioxidants that are in blue things, have found that it improves the 3 areas of the brain: short-term memory, the long-term memory, and your ability to solve problems by eating more berries. So we need to eat more berries. They actually eventually said, at the end of it all, they said, listen, all you need to be doing is eating more fruit and vegetables. So you don't have to rush around thinking, I haven't had my blueberries today, my brain's not going to work. You just need to get into a habit of eating some raw fruit or vegetables before you eat anything else. Crudités with a dip. You put that on the table, you say, lunch is not ready yet. I thought you might be hungry. With a dip, some hummus. I'm going to make some hummus with roasted beetroot and show you that one as well. So while I'm making some things, you can ask some questions in between some of the noises.
If we
Yes.
get raw before, can we put olive oil on the...
Absolutely. As long as it's extra virgin and not the cheap, nasty pumice oil. The cheap oils are heated. They extract the extra virgin oil, the first pressing, and then they use chemicals to extract the rest of the oils. That's what's called pumice oil. It's heated, it's carcinogenic, don't touch it. It usually doesn't flavor. You can't taste the olives in it. Morgus is perfect. Morgan's is perfect. Pardon? Pumpkin seed oil, as long as it is guaranteed cold pressed or extra virgin, you've got to make sure that that is. And it's quite a strong oil, but it's quite nice to kind of mix some oils as well. Quite a nice thing to do. So I'm going to quickly make some bits and pieces here just to show you how easy this is to do. One of them is going to be an ice cream, which I've got my ice cream machine on here. I'm going to put the pedal on. Hopefully it goes. You don't have to have an ice cream machine. I've just got this because it's quick. 15, 20 minutes I can have ice cream. You can do this by simply blending it, putting it in the freezer in a dish, taking the freezer out and placing the dish out, scooping it back in here once it's frozen, blending it again. You do that 2 or 3 times and you've got beautiful soft serve. You don't need an ice cream machine. This just makes it convenient for you. So I'm going to put in some honey. Normally it's about a cup or 3/4 of a cup that I'd put in there, okay? All right. And then I'm going to take 2 cups of strawberries. And then I'm going to do 1 or 2 of these. Frozen strawberries. You can use fresh strawberries as well. It's just that it goes quicker when you use them. And I keep this chilled. We just got this in coconut cream that's 100% organic. There's no ugly nunus in here at all. And it's a really good price. We were so excited because our usual supply of coconut milk and cream just couldn't get it. And then we found this, and it's way better than what we were using. I'm just trying to give you some ideas for stuff you can do. I mean, you can drink this like a smoothie. You don't have to make ice cream out of it. Okay, ice cream. Who's up for ice cream? This is my favorite smoothie. When we had our store in Mooly Point, this little girl came in there, and the whole family had gone to get ice cream from the ice cream shop next to. There's an ice cream shop next to us. Now we have a hunting and biltong and boerewors shop down. We have to take over the whole world so that there's options at least. I'm not trying to stop people. There just needs to be healthier options, okay? This is our pea protein that I'm using here. And dragon fruit, thank you. So I'll put a scoop in there of that. And some dragon fruit. I'll make quite a bit. And anyway, this little girl comes in and she says she can't eat any dairy. She's allergic to this. She's allergic to the next thing. She's looking for something that she'd like. So I said, well, look, these are the smoothies that they got. Would you like one of these? She said, no, I don't like pineapple and I don't like this. I said, well, what do you like? She said, I rattled all the things. She said, strawberries and dragon fruit. And I said, would you like me to, I need some apple juice, please. Okay. Would you like that with apple juice and some pea protein? And she said, and then I said, oh, she was allergic to nuts and seeds. Allergic to nuts. I said, well, we've got sunflower seeds, we've got pumpkin seeds. No, she didn't like. I said, how about tahini, sesame seeds? She said, yes, I want that. So it's just dragon fruit, strawberries, pea protein that's got a bit of vanilla in it, and I'm going to add some tahini to that. So just a scoop of tahini, and this is Mark and my favorite smoothie. And I've got little shot glasses for you here. You can always fill them up with more. Just got to put the apple juice in there.
She created the combination.
So I made it for her, but she created it. And I asked her what her name was, and she said Nooha. So I said, well, I'm going to name this after you because it's so delicious. I had a little bit left over, and so if you look on our board over there, it says a Nooha. It's named after Nooha, and that is her. And I've never seen her since because the whole COVID thing happened and we shut the business down. And this is what Nooha came up with, and it's our favorite, all-time favorite. It's 1 or 2 cups of chickpeas, is like a can. It's the juice of 1 lemon. It is a teaspoon or 2 of our garlic and herb. It depends on the lemons, because you've got to have a little bit of a tang to it. And if there isn't a little bit of a tang, then you need to keep adding until there is. A little bit of water to get it to mix. You can see it gets really thick. Tahini, when you put it into something, it thickens it, and so do chickpeas. So you've got to add it until you've got the right taste. Okay, there we go. Let's blend it. So we've got some hummus. The beauty about this is it freezes really beautifully. So if you can go to the freezer there, you can actually buy a hummus straight out of the freezer. I've got some roasted beetroot. You can put roasted butternut. You can put, I'm not a beetroot lover, so for me to put beetroot in is like quite something, but I actually love the taste of the beetroot in the hummus. You've got lots of pink things, and one of the reasons I stuck to lots of pink things is because you're taking in lots of these what's called anthocyanins, which is the nutrients you're going to find in your berries and your reds and your blues. And the thing is, you can add blueberries in there, you can add mangoes in there, you can add anything in any of the smoothies. I'm just giving you some of the really high pigment. Let me show you this. So you can put butternut in, it makes it really nice with butternut. And then you just basically have some raw veggies and you dip it in there, and that way you get your family to eat raw veggies before a meal. You can do it with fruit. You can make a cashew smoothie. I just need another jug. Oh, there we go. You can make a cashew smoothie with honey and vanilla, and you can use it as a dip for fruit. So you could have some fruit before breakfast with a bit of a cashew dip, or just eat it as a fruit salad. But here's 3 options. You've got normal hummus, beetroot, roast beetroot hummus, and I'm going to make quick and easy fresh basil pesto with no cheese in it. Normally you've got Parmesan cheese in basil pesto. For us, we are having cashew nuts instead of cheese. And garlic and herb salt gives it a sort of cheesy flavor. It's got a bit of dead garlic in it, roasted, dried, dehydrated garlic. 2 of those, and I'm going to have some, it's a lot of oil, but that pesto does have a lot of oil in it. Basil leaves, yes. Yeah. You can make a pesto out of rocket leaves. You can put just about any herb in there, parsley. There we go.